Hello creative mind, welcome back to another DIY session with me, and in today's video guys we are going to be sewing these two pieces that you are seeing on your screen. So I'll be working with this fabric. You need up to 4 or 5 yards depending on the size. So what I want you to go ahead and do is get all your measurements. You can see the measurement on your screen. Now the first thing we are going to be doing is to cut the top. The top, I'm going to make it longer so that even without the pants, it will still be rockable, okay? So it simply means that you consider two measurements. Either you take your three-quarter gown length or your shoulder to ankle length, okay, as your gown length. When you look at this side now, this is my self edge, that's the etiage, and this is the length. So I'm going to place my fabric on fold using the length. You can see. Now this is it. Now once I do that, I have to set it this way. We are still going to place it on fold one more time. But we're holding it. I've gone ahead, I've pinned my fabric together. Now the next thing we are going to do is to place it on fold again. So you want to go ahead and bring it this way. Now I'll be using length 50 for my gown. Now what I have here is simply length 50 and I've cut out my excess. Now the next thing we are going to do now, automatically I have my CF and my CF here and my CB. So this is my front and my back. So we are going to go ahead now. So now the first thing you want to do is, when I said measure your length, your sleeve length simply cover from your CB to where your desired sleeve to be. I mean, where you want your desired sleeve, where you want it to stop. Well, this now, the length I have here is 28 and a half, and my desired sleeve length is 24. So I'm just going to come here, measure my 24 inches and mark the point. Okay. So once I do that, there is no need for any extra shaping. The next thing is you want to go ahead, whatever your half length is, because it is going to have elastic that we will use to runched the waist. So my half length is 17 inches. So I'm going to mark 17 inches here. I'll extend it here. Now I'll come at that point where my half length stop. The same 24 I have there, I'm going to measure it here. Then I'll mark the point. This is it now. Okay, so that is it. Now the next thing will be to go to the end. You don't want the end to be too fitted, okay? You want it to be a little bit free. So you can decide to go ahead and work with your hip measurement. So whatever your hip measurement, my hip measurement is 48. I'm going to divide that 48 by 4, which I'll be having 12. So that 12, I can just add, let's say 2 inches to it, which is going to make it 14. Then I'll connect it this way. So just go ahead, use your free hand and do something like this, just to give you that shaped effect. Okay, then from here to here is going to be a straight line. You can make you can extend the same measurement we have here down and just cut it, making it a square out. It depends on what you want. Okay, now once that is done, I'm going to come back here so that I need to shape my neckline now. So whatever you want your neckline to be, I'm going to use with 3 inches. Then for the front neck, my neck depth is going to be 3 inches as well. And I'm going to go ahead and connect it this way. Now for the back neck, I'm not going to use the same thing. I'm going to make my neck depth 1.5, okay? Then I'm going to connect it this way. Now aside that, I want my back neck to be a little bit lower as well. So it simply means from that point, I'm going to determine whatever I want to do. So it depends on how you are comfortable with it. So you could do 8 inches. But you have to consider the type of bra you wear. If it's the one that your back strap is going to be low, fine. You can work with 8 to 10 inches. But if it is going to be the one that your bra at the back is going to come up, make sure you do less. You can just give it a slit. So once that is done, once you are done shaping the neck, just make sure you cut out only the back neck. If there is a need for you to cut out the back shaping that we have here too. Make sure that you do not cut it together with the front. And if you cut the front neck, it is going to affect this too. So that point is very tricky. So that means we have to, but before we move on with the neck, let's quickly cut this part out. That is done. At this point here, my half length stops. So I'm going to notch it in a bit. You can do half inch, you can do 1 inch, because this point is the point that will hold your elastic. So you can do up to half or 1 inch, just so it gives you that room for you to be able to bend and fix your elastic. Then the other part will give you room for your seam allowance. I hope you understand the logic. So now, once this is done now, the next thing we can now go ahead and open it up slightly. So I'm going to go ahead now, come down here so that I can shape my front neckline more. So I'll just come down by 1.5 here. Then I'll connect it back to this point here. Okay. Note that I won't be cutting out extra at this point because we don't want the neck to be too wide. Now this is this other part. That's my front. This is my back. So this was where I was saying that any shape you decide to use here, you can decide to curve it. You can decide to use a triangle. So if you decide to use a triangle, it means probably you are coming here by 5 inches. You extend the line here, then you come here this way. So there's no limit to what you can do. It depends strictly on what you want as the designer. So this comes here. So I'm using the inverted triangle, anyone you choose to do. So it means if I'm using this now, I'm just going to go ahead, cut this through to your curve. If you won't be able to turn it, I will advise you to stick to your curve, okay? So, and I'm done. So this point now is going to be opened. Depending on what I want, is either I use hook and eye to hold it down, is either I use a button to hold it down, anything you want to do. So that's just it. So now we are almost getting set for the front now. You can see what we have. This is going to be what we have now. Let me show you what we are going to have. Now this is how the back is going to look. If you are like me, I sweat a lot. So whenever I'm sewing, if my front neckline is high, I always make sure that my back neckline is low. So for me, this is how my back is going to look. I hope you guys understand. So this is how my back is going to look. Now, the next thing we want to do now is going to be to determine where the rope is going to be, because you know the style, there's going to be a rope. Now, don't make mistake, okay? Don't make mistake. Understand that this is the front. This is the back. This is the neckline now. This is the front. That is the back. So we are going to place the front on fold. Now, once this is done, I'm going to align the notch point now. That notch point signifies where the elastic is going to stop, right? So now, once we are done, now the next thing now is to make it easier. It's not going to be at the center. It has to be at the half part here. So what we are simply going to do here now is to come here, come to the So what we have here now is 15 and half. What we have here is 15 and half. Simply going to go ahead and divide it by 2. So you can just measure either 7 and half or 7 3/4. So I'm just going to measure 7 and half. So I'll come up, measure the same 7 and half. Remember, this is my half length point. So it depends on where you want the runching now to stop. So you can measure to that point, because we are going to be sewing a casing for the rope there. 7 and half. So that is my 7 and half up to the half length point where we notched here. And once I do that, I'm going to connect it on the straight line. It simply means that this point is where we are going to be sewing the casing for the rope of to launch the hem of this dress on. So measure the length of that point where we marked initially. I had 33 there, so I'm going to round it up and just work with 35. So what I have here now, 35, that's the breadth here is 4 inches. Now what I'm going to do now is to place it right side facing right side, and I'm going to sew half inch all the way. Once I do that, I'll give it a nice press. Once I'm done, this is it, I've pressed it. Now the next thing I'm going to do will be to flip my fabric. Now that's the main gown to the wrong side. Now you can see, I don't know if you'll be able to see the faint line here. Let me try and connect it so it is where I'm going to put the casing for the rope. That is the other fabric that will hold the rope. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I press it so that the joining won't be showing. So then I prefer to put mine on the wrong side. You can do anything that works for you. So I'm going to bring it over this way. This is the tip. At the tip, you fold it in like half inch, okay? Fold it in at like half inch. That is very, very important. I hope you can see, this is what I have now. This is the end, and this is where my rope casing stops. Now I'm going to go ahead, take it to my sewing machine. Now when I get to the sewing machine, this is the first thing I'll do. I'll remove this pin, okay, so that I can bend the hem. Whatever, how you want to bend your hem, you want to go in by just half, you want to do two. For me, I'm just going to bend it just like I'm rolling the hem of an handkerchief. So once you do that, make sure the hem of your rope casing and your garment is the same thing, and you want to go ahead and bend this one to on its own the same way. Okay, once you are done bending this, you bend the dress to bend this, bend the dress to, then you bring it over, and you are going to see at the tip of the rope casing all the way to the three edge points. Now that's point one here, point two, and the point three here. Now once you are done, you want to go ahead and run a stitch. That's a permanent stitch, right? You run it at the center all the way from the hem also to the top here, from the hem of your dress to the top here. Make sure you do not close this one. That was why I said bend it separately, bend the dress separately as well. Okay guys, so let's go ahead and get that done. If you do not understand, make sure you go back and rewatch, okay? And this is the wrong side. Like I said I was going to place the casing on the wrong side, so you can see the hem that I've bent this, and you are going to see that there's still an opening there, which is not going to affect anything. Also at this point here, while running the center stitch, at this point I left 1 inch here, 1 inch from the top, because I'm going to use that part to pass the rope. Okay, now the next thing now is I want you to go ahead, cut your rope, bend it like this. Can you see, this is my rope? So I'm just using you can use 1.5 to 2 inches depending on how you are able to bend. So what you simply do for the rope, I believe you guys should know how to bend rope. You just come, bring this way, bring this way, and take this way. And once you do that, you top stitch it all the way. You top stitch it all the way to the you top stitch it all the way to the hem. Okay, so now this is it. Now the next thing we are going to do is going to be to insert the rope. Insert the rope. So I'm just going to bring this way on my nail. So I'm going to knot it so that it's easier for me now. And the next thing I'm going to do is to come here. You can start from any side. Just go ahead. The first thing is for this first knot to enter. Once it enters, you are good to go. Okay, so that's it. So I'm just going to keep going, passing this through all the way. Push it all the way. Take your time. Done. This is it. I've passed the rope and I've knot it here. That's so that it doesn't remove easily. Now the next thing we are going to do is to go ahead and work with the neck. Now understand that the front neck comes this way. If you are using the same shape, like you are using a round neck both at the front and at the back, you can just go ahead, use your bias to turn the neckline. Now if you are doing the same thing which I'm doing here, which is using a round neck here and having a shape at the back. So two things, you can use your bias here while you just bend this place. You just have to bend it tiny, very, very tiny. You just bend this part here, then you use bias for your neckline. So let's go ahead and finish the neckline. So guys, once we are done, I'm done turning the neckline. The next thing we are going to do is this. I got belt, then I've turned the belt because the belt is what we are going to be top stitching at the side, that's the front side, so that it holds the waist. So the next thing we want to do is just the finishing now. So I'm going to open it up this way, get my center like we did initially, get my center. Now, remember that this point was the point we notched, saying that that was where the half length measurement got to. So what I'm going to go ahead to do is mark now my waist measurement divided by 4. And if you want it to have little ease, that's up to you. My waist measurement divided by 4, that is 8.5. So I'm just going to go ahead, because I'm placing it on fold, that's why I'm doing this. So I'm going to place it this way now, measure my 8.5, but I'm just going to add little e, so I'll use 9.5. Now this is where it gets to. I hope you can see. So it simply means I'm going to mark it at the side and at the other side as well. And at the other side, you can see it's there already. So it simply means before I do anything, I'm going to go ahead, open it up, okay, place this belt, that's at the front, top stitch it. I'm going to do the same thing too for the second belt. I'm going to open it up, bring it here this way. I'm going to bring it here this way. You can see this is the line. I'm going to bring it here this way, top stitch it, so that it serves as the belt that will cinch the waist. Now once that is done, you want to go ahead, get your elastic, okay, get your elastic, look for the notch points, match it together. Here's my notch point. I'm going to match it together. Now remember, this is the part that goes for the sleeve, right? This is the part that goes for the sleeve. So you join the bodies first. When you are done joining the body, this is it. That's the side seam. Let me show you. So when you are done joining the body here, which is the side seam, I need you to go ahead, bend this part and fix in your elastic on both sides. So don't get lost, guys. The notch part, I said one is serving as the sleeve and one is serving as the seam allowance for the side joining. So go ahead, join this point all the way to the hem. When you are done, you want to open it up and bend this place like you would bend your sleeve end. Then you bend it all the way. Once you are done, you want to go ahead, fix in your elastic, making sure that the elastic is the same thing as your biceps. Fix it, stitch it down, and you are good to go. So I'll see you guys in the next video where I'll be showing you how everything looks.
Hey guys, so this is what the end product looks like. You can see the back cut out and here is the front. So let me know if you enjoy making yours, and do stay tuned for the second part, guys. In the second part, we will be cutting and sewing the pant for this top/gown together. Thank you for watching.